What's up, guys? It is Dan and Nick back with another episode of F1 2021 co-op career mode in the Red Bull and the McLaren. We're in round 7 today, which is the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard. So the upload schedule has been all over the place at the moment just due to life getting in the way of stuff, but I've got a week off right now, so I'm editing a whole bunch of these races for you, so you should see us returning back to a normal schedule pretty soon. And don't forget to like the video, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when they are uploaded next as we go on to the starting grid for the French Grand Prix. And it's going to be a Red Bull front row lockout for Lando Norris and Radiant Slothz, very close between them in qualifying. And behind them we have Charles Leclerc and Justin Freshbot in the McLaren, then Lewis Hamilton, Robert Schwartzman, Yuki Tsunoda, Guan Yu Zhou, Pierre Gasly, his home Grand Prix, and Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen, then Nicholas Latifi, George Russell, Esteban Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, Christian Lundgaard, Antonio Giovinazzi, Lance Stroll, and on the back row once again it's Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Now without further ado, let's get on with the French Grand Prix.
A French Grand Prix, we can barely see the lights, but hopefully they will go out soon. They've gone out.
Radiant Sloths on the front row. They lead the pack away. We got Charles Leclerc and Justin Freshbot alongside. It's four-way into turn one. It's unbelievable.
Who's going to come ahead?
It's chaos.
Oh, it's the McLaren sweeps around the outside as Lando Norris punts a bollard into the crowd and then looks to hit his teammate.
Lewis Hamilton with a good start as well. He's crashed into Radiant Sloths.
Radiant Sloths has hit Lewis Hamilton. He's probably used the N-word as well.
Robert Schwartzman.
That is unacceptable. Robert Schwartzman somehow sixth in the second fastest car.
Does get past Yuki Tsunoda on that first lap in all of the chaos. Probably took advantage of the bollard being hospitalised as
Lando
we ride
Norris
on board.
Right up the back of the McLaren here. Can the McLaren stay ahead? Of course, famously lost half his gearbox in the last race. We'll be hoping that doesn't happen again.
Radiant Sloths in the same boat, hoping that he can actually make it to the end without a mechanical problem. Justin Freshbot defends from Norris. Norris getting very close now. I think they're both on the same tyres this time around. Oh, they're not. They're on different strategies again.
Justin Freshbot really needs a break. Norris has hit.
He's been
Norris has hit the side of the McLaren. Norris drops down the order.
Oh my goodness, Radiant Sloths now in a good position. He may actually get up his first win if he can get past the McLaren and Justin Freshbot.
Does that McLaren have damage? That is the question. That was a hard hit from Norris.
Norris now at the back. He's losing time to Nikita Mazepin.
Lewis Hamilton has pit, I believe, as well.
Well, Radiant Sloths. Oh, he's being forced
very wide. He's hit the McLaren. But the McLaren stays ahead. That McLaren under attack from both Red Bulls. This isn't even their home Grand Prix, but they're really going on the attack.
Unsurprisingly, Charles Leclerc is staying with these two as we ride on board with Radiant Sloths at the top, being punted into the side of Lando Norris, then gets hit by Norris.
Nowhere for the McLaren to go, and Lando Norris, a very aggressive driver, will not give up a position. And then there's Radiant Sloths colliding with Lewis Hamilton, who had to pit to repair the damage.
Robert Schwartzman 3 seconds behind these three. Charles Leclerc amazingly staying with them as they fight around Sector 3. Radiant Sloths looks to the outside, not able to get close enough on this occasion. Charles Leclerc biding his time. And we'll see what he can do out of the final corner. He's going to get DRS on the next go around, but he's already tailgating.
That McLaren going slowly in the hope that Charles Leclerc will put pressure on Radiant Sloths. They're all over the place here. The McLaren trying to break the slipstream. Radiant Sloths saying, I want the slipstream. It's like synchronised swimmers going into turn one. Probably lost them some time, but they're still pulling ahead of Robert Schwartzman as Radiant Sloths track extends. That should be a penalty.
Coming down now, they're going to get onto the DRS straight for the first time with the DRS activated. Justin Freshbot takes a narrower line. 2 very different lines,
and he boomerangs out of the chicane.
Still ahead, Radiant Sloths, DRS open. He's closing the gap. He's thinking about it. As Justin Freshbot murders another bollard.
That bollard is gone.
It is dead. That bollard is dead. It's
reduced
like a massive
atoms.
hit. going into the stratosphere as we continue racing on
Through the final corner. The McLaren putting down as much horsepower as it can, but that Red Bull with more downforce.
Oh, Radiant Slothz moves to the outside. A mistake. He gets pushed off the track.
Track extended again. The McLaren, can he hold the position on the inside?
He somehow manages it. Charles Leclerc dropping back slightly now as these two titans, former teammates at the great team Williams, go to blows over at the French Grand Prix. Another bollard quivering in its boots in case it gets hit by one of these two drivers, both taking the
Radiant
same line.
Slothz now copying the McLaren's line. He looks to break the slipstream. You can tell even here.
He tries to dump it and it's not working.
Radiant Slothz hits the McLaren. Disgusting driving there from the Red Bull. The McLaren now hit twice hard in that side by Red Bulls. That's got to be damage. If he can even get the car to the finish line, it will be impressive.
So what he's following here in the slipstream, and when he gets close enough, he dummies to the right and then completely overcooks
massively
it.
off the track and then turns right straight into the McLaren. The McLaren has no idea what's going on. He's just trying to drive. Disgusting, really.
Box.
And that's Radiant Slothz getting the call to come in and goes flying in. Looks like he was about to crash just there. And we'll see how his stop goes. Just standard procedure. There's a lot of emergency services waiting there, which could be because of
Radiant Slothz is going to crash. He's taken off the front wing. He's given up with that one. They've thrown the tyres to the side.
He clearly didn't like those tyres. Norris gets past him. And
Box.
Justin Freshbot gets the call as well. He responds by corner cutting enormously.
No idea what happened there to Justin Freshbot. Maybe those tyres are more worn than we thought.
He comes in.
He almost hits the wall through this incredibly and needlessly tight pit lane. He passes the ambulance workers. He claps for the NHS. Hopefully his pit crew won't be clapping as he comes in for new tyres.
The only thing they're clapping is new tyres on the car. Charles Leclerc has to have a good stop. We're not going to see where he comes out, though. Radiant
Slothz, as usual, behind the two Haas cars here, but ahead of Lewis Hamilton.
And Christian Lundgaard. And in signature style, spins the car on his outlap. Quite incredibly.
That really does help Justin Freshbot, you have to say.
Will he get back-to-back wins now as a result of that?
Justin Freshbot there, I just saw overtaken by Mick Schumacher. That can't be good. Because Robert Schwartzman is battling behind Max Verstappen.
Thankfully, I think that was during the pit lane, so Radiant Slothz only gets past one car of Nikita Mazepin, who's just come out of his pit box. And now he has to stare at the back of Robert Schwartzman, who probably won't pose too much of a challenge. As we see Justin Freshbot racing Schumacher, the second race in a row.
Look at the difference in the speed here. He's already passed him. He's 2 tenths ahead. He's 3 tenths ahead, going into the corner now.
Justin Freshbot did come out before this race.
Speed between these two.
Justin Freshbot said that he'd rather die than race for the Haas team. So clearly not very happy.
Schumacher drives into the wall off the track in the background as Justin Freshbot comes through the final corner.
He's going to get quite a few
overtakes. Up to speeds of 84 miles an hour here as he's back up into the points, but behind Lando Norris.
Crucially behind Lando Norris. This is Radiant Slothz coming around the final corner. Not in DRS range of Schwartzman, but he is going to get a few positions from those in the pit lane, who I can't see there. Oh, there's Bottas on the left of the screen behind the leaderboard that Codemasters have quite conveniently made enormous and really overbearing. As Justin Freshbot
now flying up the positions. He takes the lead. He's 2 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. This has worked out nicely for him with Radiant Sloth's inability to drive.
Talking of Radiant Slothz, he now faces down against the other McLaren. He's still not got DRS. But he is going to get past a few of these guys in the pit lane. He's into the points. Once again, there's Nicholas Latifi, his arch nemesis, coming out behind him. Robert Schwartzman still ahead. As we come to the end of the DRS straight, we'll see what he can do now. Coming down to this.
Much closer to that McLaren.
He's going to have a look. There's no way he won't try this going into this flat-out right-hander. He did take a bit too much corner there, quite shockingly. And he's going to run
He
it.
runs wide on the next corner. Will he go round the outside and then up the inside for this corner?
Let's see
No.
what he does. He's
Robert
gonna go.
Schwartzman looks like he's on the hards for some reason.
Oh, an interesting
tell.
decision. That probably wasn't the McLaren team that gave him those sides. I think that was
And the
his
engine
decision.
is blown up
Oh,
on the Red Bull.
The
There
red
is
once again.
flames.
That is going to
I
really
think he
compromise
rear ends
him.
Robert Schwartzman there as well.
Oh, he's lost all of his
Robert
his straight
Schwartzman
line speed.
confirmation is on the hards. He
Shocking.
cannot get past the McLaren.
Of course, he's lost a bunch of his pace now because of that engine fire that has happened again for him. And Max
The
Verstappen,
opportunity for the race win slipping away.
Max Verstappen ahead, somehow watching all this in the mirrors and not being overtaken. But again, Robert Schwartzman is behind him, so likely to stay that way. Radiant Slothz not able to get past.
Cannot get past Robert Schwartzman. What a driver.
He's going to have to be a little bit crafty and use his aero to his advantage now. Coming down to the right-hander again. He's
He
just
track
about on the
extends.
track.
He's massively off the track there.
He's
He
still
looks to crash into the other McLaren to get the full
the
full team
house.
that he's crashed into. He now blinds Robert Schwartzman.
He's
He's looking to crash into Max Verstappen.
Oh, Verstappen shuts the door. Verstappen not one to give up positions lightly, especially in a car which can't really overtake very well. And just ahead, actually, is Verstappen's former teammate, Sergio Perez at Alpine's home Grand Prix. We'll see if he can pull home some points. As we're going to see a move up the inside. Oh, Verstappen's hit the Red Bull quite shockingly and unnecessarily, but he does get through. And what's going on here? We've got Radiant Slothz. Oh, it's Pierre Gasly for the third season in a row.
He's
got an issue.
DNF'd at his home Grand Prix.
Unbelievable.
How heartbreaking for Peter Gasly as he pulls to the side. Esteban Ocon also at his home Grand Prix outside the points, but closer now thanks to that DNF.
Let's see if he can get past Russell. He is pretty close. And before the end of the race, more smoke blasting into the European air from Radiant Slothz. He heard this week that the French have a lot of nuclear power stations, so need some pollution in their lives. His words, not mine. As he tried to get past Perez, but given that his engine is so totally screwed up at this point, even the Renault engine is faster than him.
You have to say, it looks like it will be difficult for Radiant Sloths to win the race from this position, but anything can happen in Formula 1.
Literally, llamas on unicycles could happen in Formula 1. That is
And Radiant
how
Sloths
crazy
has
the
made
sport
an
is.
overtake.
Oh, Perez gets a massive blast of smoke as the TRS closes. He might be dead within a few hours of this race. Finishing.
Radiant Sloths now looking to overtake the other Mercedes that he hasn't crashed into yet.
Guan Yu Zhou, is he going to go defensive? He's just sitting in the middle of the road right now. He does. He moves to the left in the braking zone. Radiant Sloths has none of it and gets past him. Keeps it on the track, blasts him with some pollution, and continues on. He's got one lap to go to get past Yuki Tsunoda. Justin
Freshpot
finishes the race.
crosses the line.
And here's Radiant
And
Sloths.
Radiant Sloths, massive pollution out the back of that Red Bull. Yuki Tsunoda panicking.
Will he be able to stay ahead of the smoking Red Bull? So far, that was a good overtaking opportunity that he's not been able to capitalise on. As we come round into the final two corners, it's going to have
Will
to
he get
be.
him on the weirdly
It's an
long
audacious
run?
dive bomb. He's up the inside.
He's crashed into the Ferrari and corner cut and maybe track extended. We can't see from that camera angle.
He gets across the line. It's a close one between.
Tsunoda almost loses 2 positions.
Suspiciously, Guan Yu Zhou and Yuki Tsunoda next to each other again. Verstappen, driver of the day. Not sure where he started or what
I
he
don't
did.
think he scored any points either. The McLaren men pick up another win. What a team. Lando Norris in the dirt. The Red Bull's gone back to being blue. Justin Freshpot feels the love from the French crowd.
Of course, the French, the most hostile of all of the F1 supporters against a British driver. He will have to put his body armour on as he goes onto the podium in a moment.
Will he mock the crowd with his celebration?
Oh,
he
he's
does.
done it anyway. His worst Napoleon impression. It has whipped them up into a storm. They are throwing things at the podium. Thankfully, there is netting up to catch any of the bottles. And
the crowd chanting, "We want wine" for the all-British podium.
Charles Leclerc, of course, born and raised in the UK.
In Newcastle.
in Newcastle. As we see the final results. Of course, there is still some debate on whether or not Charles Leclerc is in fact from Newcastle, but it's just in fresh pot Charles Leclerc and Radiant Slothz who round out the podium for this race. Yuki Tsunoda, Guan Yu Zhou follow them once again. Then it's Sergio Perez, Robert Schwartzman, Max Verstappen, Nicholas Latifi, and once again another poor performance from Lando Norris, just picking up a single point in the French Grand Prix. And over in the Drivers' Championship again, and still no changes for the lead. Lando Norris is still ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but Justin Freshpot moves up to third place ahead of Charles Leclerc. Guan Yu Zhou and Yuki Tsunoda remain the same, as does Robert Schwartzman. Radiant Slothz closes the gap to 7th place, and Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen round out the top 10. In the Constructors, Red Bull are now 7 points ahead of Mercedes, and McLaren remain just 4 points ahead of Ferrari. We'll catch you in the next one.